Hello, everybody, and happy Thursday. Hope everybody's doing good. I was running a bit late today, but tonight we're going to be using the Painted Poppies stamp set. It is in the annual catalog right now, and it is also being carried over into the new catalog come May. And I just did very simple cards tonight with basic white and real red. And I'm using Old Olive and Granny Apple Green. So just very quick and easy cards. And I'm just looking, I'm going to have to, I think I forgot to fussy cut that one leaf. So let me just quick. And while we're talking, I can just fussy cut this out for a little bit. Now tonight, if you place an order, well, between now, and the 27th, you'll receive these make and takes for free. But if you order tonight by midnight, and it would be midnight Mountain Time, you will receive free shipping from Stamping Up, because today is free shipping day on all orders actually over $75. So I just got half of that cut out. So we'll start with this one tonight. Again, just basic white, simple stamping, a little bit of coloring, and then I did the same flower on the inside. And then this die comes with the Painted Poppy die set, which is called Painted Labels. And then I used a layering circle for the sentiment and then the flowers. And then I just used the same flowers on the inside. Hi, Dawn. Hi, Karen. Hi, Kathy. Hope everybody's doing good. And just before I finish up, this card I just received from Karen. Thank you so much, Karen. I just love it. I don't think I've ever made a card like this. I'm going to have to do one, actually. So if you don't mind me copying this fold, I'm going to have to make one with this. So thank you very much. And then we used the same flowers on the last card, and I stamped it on the inside also. So let's get started with this one. I'm going to pull out my cards. So I have a layer of basic white, and I'm just going to get this stuff off my desk, at 8.5 by 5.5, and I scored it at 4.25. I was at a little bit of a loss. I did not know what I was going to create with. I started thinking about it yesterday, and I came up with my projects yesterday, and then I saw Julie from Stampin' Gala use the stamps that I wanted to use, and then pretty much I wanted to make a little purse. Hey, Sheila, and some cards to go in the purse, and I didn't want it to look like I was copying Julie, so I decided to do something different, and I did not choose what I was going to do until this afternoon. And we had an appointment at the Veterans Administration, so I thought I would make poppies for all the veterans I saw today. Okay, so here's our card base, and I will have the directions or all the measurements on a PDF tomorrow, so you don't have to write everything down. Yes, I do too, Dawn. I like this stamp set, and I didn't use it enough, so I'm glad it's carrying over. Okay, then I have another basic white, and this is 5 3/8 by 4 1/8. And then I have a layer of the real red, 5 1/4 by 4. Then I have another basic white, which is 5 1/8 by 3 7/8. And I ran it through the cut and emboss machine with the time worn type 3D embossing folder. And this is also carrying over in the new catalog. So what we're going to do, we are just going to layer these on the front of the card. And of course, I didn't clean out the tip of my glue. As you all know, I usually don't put the covers back on my glue, so they all get clogged. Let me open one that has a cover on it. Never fails. I think I should put a pin here so I have a pin, but nope. All right, let me see if I can unclog this. Even my glue with the cap on is clogged. All right, so let's layer this on. Just going to get that glop off there. But yeah, we had an appointment at the VA, so I figured I would make cards with poppies tonight for all the veterans. All right, so that is the basic white. Now let's put on our real red. And then let's make sure this is the right size. And it is. And we're also going to glue this. I'm using the glue tonight instead of this seal. And I definitely use it when I do my emboss layers, just so I don't mess up the embossing. Okay, so there is the front of the card. Now, as easy as can be, I took a piece of the real red and I cut it at 1 3/4 by 3 7/8. And then I cut out this stitched rectangle, and it fits perfectly on top of this piece of real red. So let me just grab a piece of scrap paper, because I forgot to grab one before. And we're going to grab this single poppy and our memento, and we're just going to ink up this stamp, and we're going to put it right in the center of this rectangle. I just want to make sure I have it good. Make sure I don't rock, and I didn't. And then we're going to take all these little dots that are in this stamp set. Just looks like an ink blot, actually. And I'm going to grab my old olive, and I'm just going to ink up, and we're going to put them right at the bottom of this stamp. And then I'm going to grab some Granny Apple Green, and we're going to ink up. I'm going to turn it this time and ink up and stamp it again. And then for the flower, I'm going to grab my dark Granny Apple Green, and I'm going to use the nib because it lets out less ink. And I'm just going to quick color this stem in. And I have to be careful because this is a very thin stem. And then for the leaf, I'm just going to go down the center, and where it curves, that's where I'm going to just add another dark line for that leaf. And then I'm going to grab my late granny apple and I'm going to fill in the white. And as that dries, those colors will meld right together. Then I'm going to grab my light real red and my dark cherry cobbler. And what I'm going to do with the cherry cobbler is I'm going to start it at the bottom, and I am just going to bring some lines up into these petals just to darken it up a little. And then this petal here looks like it's sitting in the back, and this petal here looks like it's sitting in the back. So I'm just going to add a little bit of shadow, and then I'm going to grab my real red and I am going to color in the rest of this poppy. And if you go over that cherry cobbler, the lighter real red will help that cherry cobbler to blend out a little, because there's more alcohol in the light red than there is in that cherry cobbler. Hi, Linda. How are you? Yes, I like this set too, Em. Okay, so now that this is all colored up, we can add some glue to the back of this. Layer it on our real red layer, and I'm going to have to just trim this a little bit. And just get it on here even. And I'm just going to pull out my cutter, and I'm just going to trim that off just a little bit. Pull in my card, grab some dimensionals, and we're going to pop this up onto the front of the card. Okay. Thank you, Karen. Okay. So we're just going to put this towards the right of the card. And then let's pull this ribbon, and I'm using the real red crinkly edged ribbon, and we're just going to tie a bow and add it to the front of this card. Thanks, Kathy. If I use the Stampin' Up! Markers, will it still be transparent? Will what be transparent? I'm not sure what you mean by being transparent. The poppy. Well, you can see right here, you can still see the cherry cobbler, but you can see the lighter real red. Now I don't have it right here. I think I have to cut one out. This poppy here, and I'm going to have to die cut it because I haven't stamped it yet. But this poppy on this card, I actually did stamp it in the memento, Then I use this stamp to fill in the color, and then I did actually color over it with the stamping blends. So it really depends on how dark your color is. All right. So we're going to add our bow. And let's grab some embellishments. And these are the red rhinestone basic jewels. And I'm going to add 2 to this corner up top. And then I'm just going to grab one and put it on this corner right here. And then there is the front of our card. Now for the inside, I have the real red 5 3/8 by 4 1/8. And my basic white 5 1/4 by 4. And I'm going to do the same exact thing as I did on the front of the card. So I'm going to ink up the poppy, put it on this left bottom corner, and then I'm going to grab my granny apple and my ink blot. Oops, I just dropped something. I'm going to add some green to the bottom. And then I'm going to grab my granny apple. And I'm not going to add any shadow this time. I'm just going to color it in with no shadow. So we're just going to do it really quick. And then I'm going to grab the real red. And like I said, I always use the nib end only because the ink, I find, does not flow as quick through the nib as it does the brush part. And when you do color, you want to make sure that when you're coloring with your blends, you make sure you put something under the image, because these do bleed through. You don't want to ruin your table or whatever you're coloring on. So it does bleed through a little bit. Now we only have a single white layer, so this time I am going to use the seal so the glue doesn't show through. And we're going to line this up. So you can see 68 and sunny. Wow, it wasn't that nice here today. I mean, it wasn't too bad, but it's been cloudy, a little bit of rain. And then we're just going to lay this on the inside of the card. Now you'll notice I did stamp it in the memento and colored it, and you can still see the lines of the stamped image. Okay, so here is card number 1. Quick and easy. Yeah, it was chilly here today, and we were out of the house, I think, by 7 o'clock this morning because we had a 8:15 appointment for a CAT scan. And my goodness, we were in and out so quickly today. It was awesome. I think we were done and out of there by 8:30 today. So they were very quick and efficient. So it was awesome. Okay, so now we're going to go to this second card. And I do have to, this poppy, I did not stamp ahead of time, so I am going to have to get up and run it through my cut and emboss machine. And you'll be happy to know after tonight, I could actually use my small one, my mini one, but I finally, since it was free shipping today, I finally broke down and bought new plates for my embossing machine. Mine are warped and it's horrible, horrible. I don't know how I can even manage to die cut things without making a mess. Okay, so what I'm going to do before we even start, I'm going to do my poppy. So all I'm going to do is I am going to ink it up with Memento and stamp. Close that up. I'm going to pull in my real red. Now this stamp is not the one for this poppy. It's actually to fill in the color to the larger poppy. But I'm going to ink this stamp up and I'm actually going to stamp over the whole entire poppy. And we're going to give this a second to dry. So let me pull in my pieces. I have my basic white, 8.5 by 5.5, and it's scored at 4 1/4. Aw, thanks, Stu. Okay, then for the front, make sure I have the right pieces here. I have a basic white. I believe this is 5 1/4 by 4. Yes, it is. And then I have a 5 1/8 by 3 7/8. And then a 3 3/4 by 5. And I ran it through my cut and emboss machine with the same time-worn type embossing folder. Now you're going to have to, when you run this through with the embossing folder, the words you'll have to check. But if you look at it, you'll notice like harvest, here's harvest. So you wouldn't want to put it down on your card this way. You want to make sure that your words are right side up. Very easy mistake. Okay, so let's layer these together. And we're just going to put this on the front of the card. And then I'll work on that poppy. So nice, thick, heavy cards today. At least the first two. Okay, so there are the layers to the front of the card. So I'm going to pull the poppy in. And all I did for this poppy is I grabbed my real red, the light real red. And again, I'm going to use the nib. And I am going to grab my dark cherry cobbler. And what I'm going to do is add some shadow. Now we're going to look at our petals. We can see that this petal is on top of this petal. So there'll be a shadow here. This petal looks like it's in front of that petal. So there'll be a shadow here. It's flipped over. So there'll be a shadow here. This petal is on top of this petal. So there'll be a shadow here. And I work petal by petal. This petal in the front has a nice dip. So there's going to be a shadow here. This petal here is underneath. And it has a little dip here, so there's going to be a shadow in here. There's going to be a shadow around here and here. This is curled over, so there's going to be a shadow around here, and then there's going to be a shadow right here. So we're just laying out our shadows. So I'm going to grab my real red, and now I am going to color in the petals right over top of what I stamped. And I'm also going to go over the cherry cobbler, because I want that cherry cobbler to really blend together with this real red. So it's there, and you'll see it, but it won't really stick out that well. So I'm just going to color over this stamped image, filling it all in. And like I said, I go petal by petal. Okay, so now the poppy is all filled in, and I actually grabbed a white pencil, and I am going to add a highlight right there. I'm going to highlight this petal here, and I'm also going to highlight that there. Okay, so give me 1 second. There is a die to match this, and that's not the one, to match this flower. And I'm going to quick run it through. So give me 1 second. All right. Hopefully, now that it's all colored, I hope I get it cut out properly. Okay, doesn't look bad. I mostly try to die cut first and then color it in, so in case that die shifts, I don't ruin my image. Okay, so I'm going to take this frame that comes in the dies that match this set, and then I die cut a layering circle, and it's the 2-inch layering circle. So we're going to just move that out of the way. I'm going to pull in my scrap, and I'm going to pull in these flowers, and we're going to use the ones on this side. So I'm just going to ink up that side of the stamp. Pull in my circle and try to get it in on here even. And I got some red there. So I'm just going to pull in my black pen. I'm going to go over these lines. That's what I get for not cleaning my stamps. Okay, I'll fix that and I'll show you how. So now that we have our flowers on, I'm just gonna quick color in these flowers. And I'm not being fussy. Just filling in the color. Just like that. And then I'm going to grab my thank you. If I can see what I did with, here it is, my little thank you stamp. And again, I'm using Memento. This poor little thank you is well worn. Just going to ink that up to stamp the thank you. Pull in our card. And I am going to adhere this to the frame. Center it as much as I can. And pop this up onto the front of the card. Whoops. I want to make sure it didn't move, and it didn't. And I'm going to center it. Next, I am going to, I stamped the leaf and I fussy cut it out. And then I have my poppy here. And I'm going to actually pop this up. Now, I did pop up this frame. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a dimensional. And I'm going to put it right underneath here so it catches the edge of the frame. Put a dimensional on the top of the poppy. And then I can, whoops. I'm going to grab another dimensional because I have, this is on a dimensional, so, and I want this, so that's 2. That's why I have 2 dimensionals here. And then I'm going to set my poppy down. Grab some glue. First I want to check that it'll fit under. And I'm just going to trim this off a little. Add some glue. And we're going to just stick that right under that poppy. Hi, Louise. How are you, honey? Thank you, Dawn. Thanks, Sheila. Sometimes it's nice to hear you say I make it look easy, because sometimes I'm in here pulling my hair out. I mean, my last card, I actually thought about it and was going to come in and redo it because I wasn't too sure if I liked it. This one here, I wasn't too sure if I liked it or not. Then I said, you know what? I'm just going to leave it. That's what came out when I was in here, so we'll just go with it. Okay, so I just tied my bow. I'm going to grab a glue dot, and we're going to stick this right here. Pull in our embellishments, and we're just going to add one here and one down here. So there is the outside of our card. Now for the inside, I did something very, very simple. Just make sure of my layers here. 5 1/4 by 4, and then 5 1/8 by, that should not be 5 1/4 by 4. That's the wrong size. Yes, that's right. 5 1/4 by 4. 5 1/8 by 3 7/8. And all I'm going to do is grab my stamp. Let me get my scrubber here. And I'm just going to spray this And I'm just going to clean this off so I don't make the same mistake I just made before. Pull our white layer in. Let me make sure how I did this. Okay. Get my real red. And we're just going to ink up. And I'm going to stamp. And then stamp again. Couldn't be any easier. Let's grab that seal. So I don't want, like I said, don't want that glue to show through. And sometimes on the white, it'll show through. Let's lay this down on our real red layer. And then I can grab my glue and glue this to the inside of the card. Is this the one? Yes, it is. Just like that. Okay, there is card number 2. Liara's yelling. All right, card number 3. I have my basic white 11 by 4 1/4. And it's scored at 5 1/2. Now for this one, I have just a real red layer. And this one is 5 3/8 by 4 1/8. And then I have a basic white that's 5 1/4 by 4. Now this one I did not run through the cut and emboss machine with an embossing folder. I left it completely plain just to show you that it's not necessary to have to use your embossing folder. Now I want to make sure I get this on here straight. I have wishing you every happiness this special day will bring. And I'm going to ink it up with Memento. And I'm going to hopefully get this on here straight right in the center of the card. And I don't want to rock. And I did it again. That's what I did on the first card, believe it or not. Because I did want it at the bottom. Okay, let's try this again. I wonder if that's going to see through. I'm going to see through it. Let me just quick cut another 5 1/4 by 4. That's so funny because when I made this card today, I actually wanted the sentiment on the bottom. And that's what I did. I stamped it on the bottom and it was upside down. So I used it for the top. So let's try this again. I cut a new piece. So it goes this way. We're going to center it. I'm going to make sure it is even. Hopefully. And it's not. But we're going to be okay with it. How crazy is that? Twice I did that. Okay, so let's get this. My seal is stuck. There it goes. Get the seal on here. Hopefully it's not too crooked. Let's see what it looks like. That's off a little tiny bit. So funny. I guess that one is just not meant. Okay, so we're just going to lay this on the front of the card. Ladies, I messed up twice, so we're just going to pretend that it is on there straight. Okay. Then I did a stitched rectangle, and this one is 3 3 5/8 long, just a little bit shorter. And then I die cut the frame from the Painted Poppies, and we're going to grab these poppies again. Aw, thanks, Dawn. I figure we spend so much time on the front of our cards that it's a shame to open them and to see just a blank inside. And that's really why I do the inside, just so it's just as pretty on the inside as it is on the outside. So we're just going to stamp these poppies on this small little frame. And then I'm going to grab this ink blot with our Granny Apple Green. And I'm just using the Granny Apple Green this time. And I'm going to use the larger size. And I am going to just put some splatters at the bottom of this piece. Then I'm going to pull out my real red. We also have the blots in a smaller one. So I am going to just stamp off and add some color to the top of these poppies. But then I'm going to grab my blend. And this time, to make it a little quicker, I'm going to use the brush, because I can actually just dab these in quickly. And we're just going to color in these little poppies. Now, I'm not being fussy about it. I'm just adding color. Making it so it's just a little bit abstract. We're not looking for perfection. We're just coloring in. Okay, quick and easy, right? So let's pull our rectangle in, and we are going to add some glue and center this. I'm out of the camera. Center this on this piece. Make sure it's straight. And then while I have it here, I'm going to add some rhinestones to the corners. Just like that. Let's grab some dimensionals and pop this up onto the front of the card. Thanks, Karen. Oh, What happened to that one? Pull our card in. And we're going to center this so it's even. Grab that ribbon. And we're going to tie a bow. Get the right scissors here. Cut these at an angle. Grab a glue dot. And then we're just going to add this ribbon right here to the bottom of this piece. And then for the inside, we're going to do the same thing we did to the other inside. We have our real red and our basic white. I don't have to clean my stamp this time. Yes, I do actually. I use black. I want to use the red. So let's clean it off. Grab our real red. Ink it up. Now this one I am going to start and center it pretty much on this layer and stamp. And then to fill in the sides, I'm just going to ink up this end first and stamp. And then for this side, I'm going to ink up the opposite side and then stamp this here. Get our seal. And our red layer. Make sure it's on there straight. I'm going to close up my ink. Grab my card. And there we go. Our last card. And then number 3. Well, I hope you liked tonight's cards. They were so much fun. Again, don't forget, tonight is free shipping on $75 orders. If you order 35, you'll get these make and takes for free. If you do the 75 for the free shipping, I will throw in a pack of embellishments for free. So have a wonderful, wonderful night. I'll see you back here on Saturday. Not too sure what we'll be doing, but I will pop in on Saturday and we'll do something special. So have a great night. Thanks so much for joining. Thanks, Dawn. You're so welcome. And I'll talk to everybody soon. Bye-bye. Bye, Karen. It'll be there soon.